Board here. Look at honors geometry on Trooper Tide. Tuesday, the 29th of this month of September. SWBA students will be able to draw, complete, and interpret Venn diagrams, section 2.4. Have you guys seen Venn diagrams before? You guys have never seen them before?
I've seen them.
You have? Where have you seen them before?
In math.
In math?
In reading.
In read. A lot of times you see them in reading, right? Like when you compare and contrast stories, you'll say like maybe this character has this and this character has this, and they both have this. Okay? Or maybe you'll say this part of the story has this part of, or maybe you'll compare and contrast two different stories. Different things like that, right? Okay? It's a tool used to compare and contrast and state things that are different and state things that are the same. Now, it's a visual way of displaying the relationships between sets. So in English and reading, you probably talked about those different sets where maybe a character and a character or two different stories, okay? So we'll transition to doing them to some other things. Now we have three different types of Venn diagram, even though you've probably only seen the middle one is my guess, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the one you use as a tool to compare and contrast in like stories and stuff like that. But there's actually all three types here. And the first type is denoted by these keywords, all, always, and every. Those keywords are going to be important, okay? The all, always, and every. So you might say all of P is parts of Q. So all elements, aka just something that's part of P. So all elements of P are elements of Q. If it's a part of P, it's automatically a part of Q. All squares are rectangles. Could be an example, okay? All squares are rectangles could be an example. In that box, that's our if P, then Q. If it is a square, then it is a rectangle. Or all squares are rectangles. Next, we have our some or sometimes. Maybe you could have, let me think here. You could have squares are sometimes rhombi. You guys don't know that one. That's not true. Rhombi are sometimes rectangles. But you could have let me think of a good one. I'm blanking on a good one right now. Football players sometimes play basketball. There's an overlap, right? There are some football players that play basketball, but not all football players play basketball, and not all basketball players play football, right? So there'd be some in each category, some in the overlap, some in each category. My goodness, that was tough for me to think of one. That shouldn't be that tough. So our entire thing up here, the entirety of it, would be our P or Q. Because how many have to be true for the or?
Just one.
Just one. So here, it talks about everywhere where P exists, everywhere where Q exists, and the overlap. But inside, both have to be true, so it's going to be P and Q, where both have to be true. Kelly, I low-key forgot what the bottom half of your face looked like until just now, even though I saw it all last year. Okay? So P and Q would be the overlap there in the middle, okay? Just this little region that is shaded now. That's where both of them exist. So some elements of P are elements of Q. Then you have your never, no, or none. So there's no overlap at all, okay? There's no overlap at all. This could be like, freshmen are never sophomores. Sophomores are never freshmen. Okay? That'd be true, right? Okay? So it's saying, what? Okay.
Well,
So this is saying,
you technically be a freshman if you don't get enough credits.
yep. So then you would just be a freshman technically.
You can't be a freshman and a sophomore.
But you can't be a freshman and a sophomore.
You can't be 15 and 18.
Yeah, exactly right. You can't be 15 and 18. So there's no relationship between P and Q. Saren? Yes, good luck. Okay. Questions on those? Alrighty, so we're going to draw some diagrams. So we're going to look for those key words, okay? The all, every, always, some, sometimes, those no, never, none. Some students who take chorus also take band. What's the key word here? Some. So we automatically know we're going to have two circles that overlap.
Wow.
Now we just have to say, what are our circles? What are they representing?
Band and choir.
Okay, band and choir students. So we could say band, and we could say choir or chorus as it's written here.
And then you can say both in the middle.
Okay, and then both would be in the middle. Which you can write, you don't have to write. It's implied with the way the Venn diagram is drawn that this is the both. So we just drew a Venn diagram to represent it. Would it have mattered if I put chorus on the left and band on the right?
It would not.
It super wouldn't. Okay? Number 2, no perfect squares are prime numbers. What's the key word here?
No.
No. So are my circles going to touch it all?
No.
Nope. And what would be one of my circles?
Squares and prime numbers.
Perfect squares. My other one would be prime numbers. And if we think about that one's true. If you give me a perfect square, I can say it's not a prime number. Because if it's a perfect square, that means 2 of the same number I had to multiply to get it. So it's automatically not prime. Because prime means only 1 in itself. So like 25, for example, 5 times 5, so it's not prime. 36, 6 times 6, not prime. Questions on these two? Okay. Numbers divisible by 6 are always divisible by 3. What's our key word? Always. So we're going to have one inside the other. So now our question becomes, which one is which? Which one is inside the other one?
Because Q and then P is in the middle.
Okay, which one's on the inside? Divisible by 3 on the inside? I'm going to disagree. Numbers divisible by 6 are always divisible by 3.
Oh, because...
So we're going to talk about the numbers divisible by 6 first, on the inside.
3 can...
Oh,
Because 3 can go into 9, but 6 can't. Divisible. Yeah, divisible. Division.
yeah, 3 can go into 9, but 9 can't be divided by 6, 9 can be divided by 3. So the big one are going to be numbers that are divisible by 3. So this is saying, if a number is divisible by 6, it is always a part of the ones divisible by 3. And if we even just take some of that math facts to it, we can say, well, 9 would fit here, but not in here. But any number you divide by 6 would have to fit inside of this other one, right?
Like 12.
Like 12. 12 would be in both, so it goes inside the circle. 9 would not be in both, so it goes outside the little circle. Okay, and notice I kind of use that arrow here, because it'd be pretty tough for me to write all of that inside of there, right? So I just use an arrow to represent it. Okay, there you go. There you go. Okay, every natural number is a whole number. What's the key word here? Every. So we're going to have the same type of scenario. We're going to have 2 circles. Thank you, Jacob. 2 circles. Which one is which? Which one's the inside one? Natural numbers. Very good. What's our big one then? Whole numbers. And we just practiced that actually on our homework, right? Or on our schoolwork, I should say. Okay. I want you guys to try number 5. Number 5, who wants to help me out with this one? Levi?
Some vertical angles are complementary, and I put the 2 circles and they're kind of like coming into the center.
Okay.
And I put vertical angles in one and complementary in the other.
Okay, vertical angles in one, complementary in the other. Doesn't matter whether you put it inside or on top. Now, what was your key word, Levi, that told us that this was how we had to draw our diagram? Sum. Very good. I agree. 6, irrational numbers are never rational numbers. Who can help me out with this one? Dominic?
Apart.
They're apart. How do you know that?
Because it says never.
Never. Okay, and what are our 2 circles?
Irrational and rational.
Irrational and rational. They can be one or the other. Can't be both. Questions on that? All right. Now we're going to practice shading them. Okay? So shade the indicated region on the Venn diagram. So here we have this. They're all our sum sometimes, right? These are all our sum, and sometimes they all have the overlap. They all start at the same. One is P, one is Q, one has the overlap. Here, we're talking about everywhere where Q is. So does Q exist over here?
No.
No, but Q does exist over here, right?
Yes.
Where else does Q exist?
In the middle.
In the middle. Q exists over here. So I'm asking you to shade all of where Q is. I need to shade the entire circle of Q. If Q exists there, we want it right now. What about if I say P and Q? What part do I want of this? Just the middle. Kaya nailed it. Just the middle. Why is it just the middle, Kaya?
Because that's where P and Q exist.
Because that's where P and Q exist. Okay, now what if I said P or Q? And that, I want the whole thing. Why, Liam?
Because it's P or Q.
Because it's where either P or Q or both exist. Because even just one of them has to be there. Okay, so we flip the page and we do the P or Q. And we shade the entire thing. Because we want the entire thing now. So I'll give you a second to flip that, to do that if you need. Okay. Number 10 here, P and not Q. So I want where P is, and I want where Q is not.
So you shade everything in P, but not the overlap.
Everything in P, but not the overlap. Okay, so I got P and not Q. So I want where P is, and I want where Q is not. So I want P, and I want the opposite of Q. So anywhere where Q is, I don't want it this time. Okay? Yes, Bill.
It says shade where P is and Q isn't, so would that mean we just shade the whole box? Excuse me.
Got him.
Gotcha. So we would do the overlap of where P is and where Q isn't, since it's and. But I guess if it was P or not Q, then you would be correct. I like that. I haven't thought about that. You're almost literally thinking outside the box. You're thinking outside the circles.
That joke was almost as funny as Will's.
Man.
It was pretty close.
Man.
We can't shade outside the box though, because it's not Q there.
Yes. But it's not the overlap of P and not Q.
Sure.
Yeah, if it was or though, like I was saying. Yes, Aaron.
You would need to shade the entire everything.
Yeah, shaded the entire room while we're at it.
I really don't like circles. They're just pointless.
All right, here. Now we're going to interpret these. Okay. This is a pretty nice lesson, I think. Okay. Anyway, so we're going to interpret these. We're going to describe them. Describe what's happening. So how could we describe this? And I'm going to take away that part where it says using a conditional or compound statement. I'm not going to lie. I think that part's stupid. Okay. So how could we describe this? What's happening here in this diagram? What? We use all the geometry teachers use them together, so we all kind of work together on them. But after we did, I'm like, I don't like that. So, yep. Who can help me with this first one, describing what's happening here? Okay, Levi.
Angles that measure 60 are always acute angles.
There you go. I like it. That could work. Angles that measure 60 degrees are always acute or acute angles. Could there be another way we could write it? Probably. Okay, there's lots of ways you could write this. Okay, but you want to make sure you have the word all, always, or every in there, okay? So maybe 60-degree angles are always acute, or every 60-degree angle is acute. Okay, different things like that maybe. What about the second one? Dogs and beagles. Okay? Dogs and beagles. Okay, doggos and beagles. Maybe we'll even change that. We'll change that to doggos.
Dog. Oh.
Okay. Okay, doggos and beagles. Okay? Max.
All beagles are dogs.
Yeah, all beagles. If I can write with it. Are doggos.
No, they were bagels.
Now if they were bagels, okay? Okay.
Bagels are never dogs.
Okay. All right. 13. Okay. How could we talk about this one? How could we talk about this one? Levi.
Some volleyball players take piano lessons.
Some volleyball players. That hurts. Some volleyball players take piano lessons. Pianos.
Fun times.
Oh, yeah, it is.
Some boiler players are pianists.
Okay. Guys, really?
This was
Guys need to grow up.
This was a joke in like the
You gotta
sixth grade.
grow up.
We read a whole story about a piano player and they put like pianist in every other
seventh
paragraph.
grade. We all
It was
That's just a recipe for disaster with middle school.
It was used to be
That was
funny.
funny.
Still a little funny.
You did it again?
Levi, what's your question?
That's actually
Oh, okay. Levi's just going to answer 14, but we have to be careful here with the shading. Okay, Levi, do you have the shading down? Do you know? Do you? Okay, never mind, maybe. Okay. Okay, Aiden.
Months with 31 days.
Okay.
Whoa.
We need a little bit more descriptive than that. That's how we can start it. Months with 31 days.
And not.
Oh, there we go. That don't start with J. Months with. Have you guys ever seen that? W/, it means with.
Yeah.
Okay, months with 31 days. That don't start with J.
I wrote P and not Q. P and not Q.
I mean, that's what it's talking about, but we're going to be actually describing what's here, though, since we're given actual sets. Okay, so that was our P and not Q that we had earlier. Okay?
Do you mind if I hang out with broadcasting club thing right here?
Yeah, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay. 15. How could we do this one?
Not all freshmen take art.
Okay, that is true, but how could we describe what's happening in this shaded region?
Not all freshmen are class.
That's exactly what was said. Okay?
Freshmen that don't take art class.
Freshmen that don't take art class. So this is saying there are freshmen that take art class. That's the overlap. But we don't care about this one. So we want freshmen that don't take art. See you, Ryan.
Randomly capitalized.
And our last one.
Multiples of 7 I'll use.
There you go. Multiples of 7. Or even numbers. We don't really care which. It all exists in there. And there is some overlap. There are multiples of 7 that are even, like 14, and 28, 42, 56, okay? 70. Okay. Okay. Here comes our interpreting Venn diagram. So we formed, we drew, we completed them, and now we're going to interpret some. So this Venn diagram below shows a number of senior boys who play football or wrestle. So you have 18 that do football but they don't wrestle, 9 that do both, 12 that wrestle but don't play football. What's this 104?
Senior boys.
The senior boys that don't fit into any of these categories. So it's not the total number of senior boys, it's the senior boys that don't do football or wrestle.
So there's like 130 something.
143 boys in the whole school.
Here's a what?
143 boys in the...
Ooh, good math.
Quick math.
Okay, 2 plus 2 has 4 minus 1 that's 3. Quick maths. Okay, how many senior boys play football and wrestle? 9. And is our key word. How many senior boys play football but do not wrestle?
12.
18 play football. You're doing wrestle but not football.
Wait.
You did wrestle but not football. We want football but not wrestle.
Yeah, but like the whole 18 kids play football.
18 kids just play football. 9 kids play both.
So
So how many
27
kids
are
play?
on the football team?
Yes.
Okay.
And 21 wrestlers.
Yes.
Okay. How many senior boys play football or wrestle? 39.
What? How did you get that?
You have to add all 3 numbers. Big brain. How many senior boys wrestle?
21.
21. 21.
It's the third. Shut up.
Questions on any of number 1? Yo, this is like the classic math teacher thing. Guys, it's only one problem. A, B, C, D. Guys, it's only a second problem. A, B, C, D. Hey, at least I call it out. Okay? Just saying.
There's only 4 problems.
Okay.
There's only 4 problems.
Yeah. All look. Hey,
A to Z.
remind me, guys, to show you a beam at the end of class, okay? So the Venn diagram shows the number of people signed up at the gym for yoga or aerobics classes. People taking yoga, people taking both, aerobics, and then all those at the gym that aren't signed up for one of these classes because there could be people at the gym for other reasons. How many people are signed up for yoga?
92.
Okay, 92. How'd you get that? Okay, you added 68 and 24 because those all exist inside of our yoga circle. How many people are signed up for yoga or aerobics?
81.
Huh?
I get it wrong? That's correct.
Yep, we have to circle all 3 of those. Get all 3 of those in there. Add all 3 of them up. You did it right.
We can kind of do math.
How many people are signed up for aerobics but not yoga?
89.
897 the river. 89.
Oh, let's go.
How many people belong to the gym?
Nobody belongs.
Nobody belongs to anything.
We have to add all 4 numbers.
That's a lot of numbers.
Because, you guys listen up, because these 575 are in the gym, but they aren't in any of these classes. So we have to add up the 575 plus these other categories.
The gym doesn't own people.
700 and what?
56.
Gym doesn't own people. That's a good point.
Belong.
Wait, that's illegal.
Yeah.
You would say you belong to an organization if you're part of it, though.
Yo, this organization is basically like.
Okay.
No, you don't.
We're gonna skip number 3.
What was it?
What?
What was the last?
756.
756.
756. Yeah, I got 756 here, 756 there, 757 there. Do I hear 758? Sorry, 758. Okay. Yep.
You can definitely do that.
Okay.
All 4 is illegal.
Because you did that last time and the time before, so like I'm literally just assuming that that's
It's like a half and half. Yeah, I like it. Nobody's ever called me out on that. All right, the Venn diagram below shows the number of sophomores with Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts. So these are the students with Facebook, Twitter, or Instagram, okay? So this is a 3-part Venn diagram now, okay? So now there's a lot more overlap. So what's this number 37 represent, guys?
How many people have Facebook and
Facebook
Twitter?
and Twitter, but not Instagram.
Facebook and Twitter, but not Instagram. What would 55 represent?
How many people
Facebook
have
and Instagram, but
Facebook?
not
Twitter.
Yep, not Twitter, but Facebook and Instagram. How about 21? What would that represent?
All
What would 28 represent?
Not
Everybody
People
who
don't
doesn't
have
have
any.
Facebook.
Everyone that doesn't have one of those 3 social media platforms. All right, I want you guys to try number 4. Yes. I want you to try number 4.
Can I get a calculator?
Yes.
Is your brain not big?
Siri, summoning.
How many students just have a Facebook account? Only Facebook.
124.
Under 24. It's only this part. Only Facebook, nothing else. How many students have a Twitter or Instagram? Twitter or Instagram? Not quite.
209.
209. How did we get 209? Okay. Well, let me ask this. Do all these students have Twitter?
Yes.
Do all these students have Instagram?
Yes.
Yeah, so you add up all those groups, but you do not double add 21 and 16. So we're asking Twitter or Instagram. So we want any number that falls in this category. So we add those 6 numbers together and get 209. Because that would be the Twitter or Instagram. Any of the overlap between Twitter and Instagram, or any of the individual between Twitter and Instagram. Questions on B? Ireland, you look mad confused. Okay, yes. Okay. Did you understand A? Okay. Not B, though. Okay. So what did you do for B?
I don't know, I erased it.
Okay. So when we're saying or, we just need at least one of them to be true, right? Okay. So do these 46 people have Twitter? Do these 37 people have Twitter? Okay. Do these 21 people have Twitter? Also Instagram. Do these 16 either have Twitter or Instagram? Okay. And do these 34 people have Instagram? Do these 55 have Instagram? Do these 124 have Instagram or Twitter? Nope. Do these 28 have Instagram or Twitter? Nope. So everyone who said yes to, we'd have to circle up and say it, because they either have Instagram or Twitter or both. So as long as they have Twitter or as long as they have Instagram or both, they fit into this category. Does that make any more sense? Okay. You're not just saying that? Okay. I trust you. Okay. Letter C. How many sophomores have Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram accounts?
21.
That'd be 91. Our and is our keyword, so it's the overlap of all 3 of them, because we're talking about Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Okay. Next one. How many students do not have a Twitter account?
241.
241. How do we get that number? Okay, we want everyone that's not on Twitter. So what we can do, we can circle Twitter, and we want every number that's outside of Twitter.
What is 124 plus 55 plus
So-
24 plus 28?
So you have 124, 55, 34, and this 28 over here that don't have any of those three.
Oh!
Yes, yeah. So if you got 213, that would be y. You have to add in the 28.
213.
Sneaky, sneaky. Questions on C or D?
No.
Okay. How many students do not have a Facebook and Instagram? So they don't have Facebook and Instagram. They don't have both Facebook and Instagram.
285.
Okay? I would agree it is 285. How we get there? You can take away the Instagram Facebook overlap, which is all of this. That is the Instagram Facebook overlap. Take that away. Add up all the other numbers. Okay? Take that away. Add up all the other numbers. You have to be very careful with the wording. Okay? Do not, so we want what's not there, and we don't want the and. We don't want the and of Facebook and Instagram. Questions on this one?
No.
We will practice one more triple Venn diagram, and then we'll be done with our notes.
Why you do this to me?
Okay? Do you guys want to pick? Do you guys want to do number 5 or 6?
5.
Raise your hand for 5.
Five.
Hands down. Raise your hand for 6.
Wait, no, 5 is bigger. 6. I was
Let's try this again. Hands down. Raise your hands for 5.
Nobody raise your hand.
Okay, hands down. Raise your hand for 6.
6 wins.
Okay, 5 it is. Just kidding. We'll do 6. More people voted for it. Okay.
What's the chance of 5 being on the homework?
Okay. Not likely. On a recent field trip to Cedar Point. Cedar Point is an amusement park. Okay, on a recent field trip to Cedar Point, students reported which roller coaster they rode. The Venn diagram below represents the result of the survey. So we have these 3 roller coasters: Blue Streak, Maverick, and Millennium Force. And then we have students, whether they rode one of them, 2 of them, or all of them, or they didn't ride roller coasters.
Imagine not riding.
Okay? Hey, some people don't like roller coasters. Okay? Okay? I want you guys to try A through E.
The Air Force is so
Alrighty. How many students just went on the Maverick? Nothing else. Levi. 27 only went on the Maverick. Nothing else. Letter B. How many students went on the Blue Streak or the Millennium Force? Or, so we have to do the overlap, okay? Dominic.
129.
Almost.
126.
126. I think we might have had just an adding error there, okay? So we have to add up all of the Blue Streak as well as all of the Millennium Force. So if it's if the number we just circled there, we need to add it up. All those 6 numbers. How many students went on the Millennium Force and Maverick? So we want the overlap between Millennium Force and Maverick. So Millennium Force is here, Maverick is here. Where's the overlap?
19 and
14 and 19.
33.
So we have 33.
Oopsie.
Wait, 19 to 14. Oh,
It's
that's the
Millennium Force
wrong
and Maverick, not
one.
Millennium
I gotta write the first.
Oh, Kaya started.
How many students went on the Blue Streak?
69.
That's the best number.
What makes it good for
Okay, we have to add up all 4 of those numbers because they all went on the Blue Streak.
The 6 and the 9 is 20.
Cool. How many students went on the Blue Streak and Maverick, but not the Millennium Force?
10.
It is just 10.
61.
So Blue Streak and Maverick, how would go through that? Blue Streak and Maverick, you want the overlap. So we're talking about 10 and 14. So we're talking about 10 and 14 now. But then it says, but not the Millennium Force. We have to cross out that 14. And we're left with just 10. Questions on that? Dominic.
C. How?
C, how? Okay. Let's go over C. Are you? Okay, C. How many students went on the Millennium Force and the Maverick? So Millennium Force, let's circle that. Maverick, we want that. And since it's and, we want where they're both true, right?
Oh, okay, yeah.
So 14 and 19 is where they overlap. Okay? So sometimes drawing those circles can really help us visually understand. Okay? That can help us visually understand and make sure we hit things. So drawing, and I know it's a little bit harder for you to erase than it is for me to erase. Okay?
Wow.
But it still can be handy. What?
Oh my god.
One dot.
Yeah. There you go.
Wow.
I got rid of it.
That's
Don't forget about the dot that's right above your head and the
It's
board.
11-11, guys. Make a wait.
That one stays there though.
Classic.
11-11.
Yes. All right. Any other question on this one?
I do not have any.
I do not.